That's smart on Jeff's part. He's surrounding himself with people that he has weaknesses with. I genuinely love Ty. We're both on YouTube, so it's a balancing game of clickbait, right? So everybody is flipping, everybody's making it a hustle, and that's the money that we need to be concerned about.
The biggest icon in West.
Can't get Savage off my mind either.
All right, we're lucky enough to have Scottie B Cards with us today. I've been watching his channel for 3, 4, 5 years now. I like the sun's in my way, but I really like the style of content Scottie makes, and I've watched, kind of, glanced over some of your more recent videos. I have some questions for you.
Okay.
Scottie, do you want to give a little introduction to yourself or your channel for the viewers?
Of course. Yeah. So I have a YouTube channel called Scottie B Cards. Thank you. And by the way, do you want to be called Professor? Do you want to be called Jason?
I think Professor is awesome, but let's just go Jason. That's more fair.
Also, I know you already asked me a question, but I thought it was funny when we got on this call. I don't think anybody should be listening to you or I with an Athletics hat and a Rockies hat, if we're being honest here. But with that being said,
die hard and loyal.
Yeah, die hard is the right phrase there. But so I have a YouTube channel called Scottie B Cards. It's mostly about modern baseball, if not completely about modern or ultra modern baseball. And if you enjoy like analytical content, it's the right place for you. I try to help with news when I think it's appropriate. I sacrifice views for content I more care about instead of going after news stories. It's just because it's not sustainable. I like making content that's going to be beneficial and educational and fun. So
I would agree with all of what you said there. You do you stuck with your lane, and you probably could do other things, but you do, and there's some integrity to that. But I did. Okay, so one of the recent videos, Chrome's parallel, Topps Chrome, I assume. I've heard you say two different things. Answering a viewer, you're saying, one of these parallels will pop in the long term. And that's probably true, but there's so many of them and so much competition, which didn't exist back in the day when Topps Gold in the 90s was. There's so much of it. So where do you see all this stuff? Where are you with all the parallels and the printing of just the same card multiple times?
I don't think we're in a good place per se, but I do think both things can be true at the same time. I think we're in a bad place, but I do think some of them are going to have value in the long run. It's ignorant to say they won't, right? Like there's no way we can move forward and just say you have to be a true collector and only collect the gold and the blue, and you just can't do that. The waves and the shimmers of those cards, I don't think will ever really get close unless someone falls in love with the geometric refractor that's new. But I do think that if you would like to be a smart hobbyist and not, we're buying baseball cards as speculations. How smart can you be? But if you want to be smarter, you would go after the true colors. But someone's going to cash out big on one of these, probably the black parallel, right, out of 10. That's probably what it's going to be. Or the Murakami out of 3. But they're all very rare. The higher number stuff I'm not confident in at all. So,
there's so many different sets with so many low parallel cards, and then it gets done year after year. So maybe the rookie, but just eventually there's so much of it. Maybe even today already.
Well, there's a reason why I have not bought a card outside of Topps Dynasty post 2022. Like, there's a reason, unless it's like a super short print. There's cards I love. There's some things Fanatics has done that's surprisingly really good. Their inserts are better. Their super short prints are better. I like that they have the golden mirrors. Like there's cards in that area that I think will be fine. Parallels, niche sets. Again, some of it's going to be valuable, but it's just not worth dabbling in to me. And there's some people who collect to collect. And if I was collecting Rockies and I liked purple geometric, that's fantastic as a binder. But as an investment, it's tough.
And then the other thing I want to add, just to make sure it gets stated in this type of conversation is, Omar Vizquel isn't selling for tons. And maybe I'm wrong. There's a lot of great players that it's only a select few that really hold value long-term.
Long-term, yeah. So I've done really well on the speculation game for players that should be approaching the Hall of Fame, but no one's realized it yet. Like Paul Goldschmidt. I love Paul Goldschmidt, but I've sold all my Paul Goldschmidt cards of value. I still have a lot of really cool PC stuff because you're able to anticipate, okay, he's approaching the Hall of Fame. People will expect him to get there. But that's, again, a short to medium term play. Like realistically, if you're looking long term, how many players of a generation can hold value? 3, maybe 4,
Honest,
right?
very honest.
So
Yeah.
like in this generation, like I'm Mike Trout, I'm a little worried about, but he'll still always be Mike Trout. His numbers are amazing. His first part of his career was great. But right now it feels like Judge and Ohtani. So that's what it feels like. I like Mookie Betts, but even I'm not blind enough by love for Mookie Betts to say he's on that same tier because he's not. But I think he could be someone that could hold value too. So
He also played in big markets, Boston and LA, so that's good for his stuff.
being a winner
Okay.
whole career versus someone like Manny Machado who hasn't won a World Series, that helps. So
Something I found interesting I want to ask you is, okay, so did you have a strategy that, hey, I'm going to buy some Paul Goldschmidts because he's going to make the Hall of Fame, and so let's buy him, and before he does, I will get rid of them at that point? Is that kind of a strategy you've used?
the biggest challenge for me is I buy players when I think they're a good buy, and I don't have the intent of selling those cards. But then when another card pops up and those cards have gone up, I try not to get too attached as I'm getting a better card I care more about. And so it's a little bit of both, right? It's like I bought a Paul Goldschmidt red Bowman chromatograph and I got it for 58, 6,800, right around there.
Okay.
And I thought that was a great price for that card. And I was excited about it. And then I ended up selling it for like 9 to 10K. And it was just one of those things where in 6 months, it's too good of a return not to do. I bought a Buster Posey 1/1 from Sterling. He has a few 1/1 rookie cards, and that was one of them. And I got it for 3,000, but he sold it for 6,000. So, but then that gets rolled over into a nice Ohtani that grows a lot better. So it's a balance of doing both, and I'm learning to lean more to Larry Walker and Billy Butler as like my real. I'm not going to sell him PC, and
Okay.
I'm being less attached to the more like higher end stuff.
Well, that's fluid. You keep bringing in more. If you sell something like the Goldschmidt, you're looking to buy something else.
Always. I don't think I've ever sold really anything. No, that's not true. I sold some Mike Trout to finish our basement. It went way over budget. And so I was like, I gotta liquidate some cards. And plus it got like points with my wife. She was happy that we didn't pull from my savings.
Yeah.
You know, so there was a couple benefits. But typically I only sell cards to buy cards. I only buy cards with card money. So
Let's talk Trout real quick. He was the best player for a decade. And the thing that's I don't think often talked about for me enough is, I'm a big NBA guy. 2009 Curry comes in. He doesn't have that many cards, and the cards he does have are super low pop count. Trout is in a similar book. It's not as low, but when you compare it to the players of now, it's tremendous difference. So does that help Trout in the long term, or he's really fallen off? I mean, complete. And now he's an injury mess. Where do you lie with Mike Trout?
Mike Trout's career is one of a tragedy, right? That's more of what it is. Had so much hope.
That's sad. That's too bad.
And honestly, one of the best peaks we've ever seen. So I don't want to like diminish his achievements. And I know sometimes people think I am. But
great center fielder also. Like, great, top-notch defender.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're totally fine. But so I'm not diminishing Trout when I say this, but the hard part is Ohtani came in, kind of overtook the start, like the shine a little bit from Trout. And then Trout just can't stay healthy. And everybody was concerned, like, okay, Mike Trout had great 20s. Let's just hope he doesn't have a grippy 30s. And I would argue he's having probably worse.
Yeah, it is. It is.
He's not having the power. Like Griffey got to 634 home runs. Maybe, I don't know if that's right.
It's over 600.
And then he just hit 400 at age 33. So do we think he can get there? Probably not. So I would be shocked, though, if Trout does have another 6-WAR season, and that'll help his cards.
The other thing is there's not a ton of players to collect from that decade. Even the decade, like you mentioned Posey, I'm glad you did. Love Buster Posey. Miguel Cabrera, but he's not but he'll be someone in long-term people will look at. But Trout's on a list of just a few guys, even though right in the moment, he's just god awful.
Yeah, you can point at Mookie Betts is the best one.
Yeah.
Like 2010 to 2017.
Freddie Freeman's got to be up there.
Freddie Freeman's a good one. I would argue Paul Goldschmidt, but I'm not that dumb. I love him, but I don't know how his collectability will be. Hall of Fame caliber guys will always have a few super collectors. So you have that floor built in. You have Machado, you have Arenado, you have like even Chris Sale, probably a Hall of Famer, but no one really cares, unfortunately, at this point. So yeah, it's basically Mookie to me. Trout as well. But no, you asked a question. How will that help? For someone like Trout, the few sets and the rarity will really help. Trout has 2 rookie autographs, only one of which is on card. He does not have a Topps Chrome, so his flagship's worth more. His black parallel is worth more. He has the Hope Diamond, which is a great parallel from that year. His finest set's amazing. There's a lot that's going right with Trout. So realistically, you and I are talking about like the negative side of Trout, but like maybe it's a good buying opportunity since he's at not all-time lows, maybe lows of the last 10 years.
Nobody's trying to go after him at the moment. So it is interesting.
Like it could be an opportunity, not one I'm taking, but it could be an opportunity. So
if this is an extremely tough question, so do what with it what you will. But if you could say, hey, if you're printing this stuff and you say, okay, this is a healthy amount of parallels, or this is a healthy amount of, we'll call it parallels. How many would you be throwing in a Topps Chrome product?
So 2015 Topps Chrome is the best set for parallels. I'm pulling it up now. I'll just look at the count. But 2015 Topps Chrome had the refractor, the sepia refractor, the prism refractor, the purple, blue, green, gold, orange, red, super. So 10. That's the best. Let's say you need to get the X fractor into retail. Great. You need to add a frozen fractor or add a 10 in there. Great. There's 2 or 3 more. But I would say 15 or less. The hard part, though, is print runs are way up since 2015. So the question—
That's an understatement.
Yeah. So like from Topps perspective, do we want to just make odds really long and have it be like 1 parallel per hobby box? Probably not. And because they can't sell the product. So in an ideal world, 2015 Topps Chrome is perfect, literally, but it's not possible.
How many parallels are in the most recent Chrome, or a random estimate?
I would probably guess close to 40.
Okay.
Up from 15, but it might even be higher. I mean, I'll just take a quick peek, see if I'm.
And you mentioned with that, it's the motivation is because it helps them sell product.
Yeah. I mean, they want a good product for their consumers. You can't just go in there and have it be terrible and be like the 1990s again in regards to like value of the box.
For me, it does make it a bad product though, because because there's just too much.
You and I, I agree with you because it's hard to. It's not even Topps Chrome. It's Topps Chrome Sapphire. It's Bowman Chrome. It's Bowman Chrome Sapphire. It's Topps Chrome. Like it's just all of the additional outside that also have 40 parallels. That's a challenge.
Well said. That's right. That's going to be a problem long term and it's hard to you mentioned it in your video. It's really hard to predict what card is going to be the one. You mentioned a couple that definitely, and there'll be some we can never play. The debut patch will never play in that realm, or I never will at least, but it's so hard to pick which one will be the one in the future.
Are you hearing my dog bark, by the way?
Oh, I did earlier. I didn't hear just now, but maybe because I was talking.
Okay.
But a little, vaguely, nothing. It's no problem.
To everybody watching, I'm sorry if Buttons is being obnoxious.
No.
What were we saying? Forgive me.
Shoot, now I lost mine. Let's move to the next thing. Let's just go to the next. Okay. Let's keep
Sorry
going.
about that.
No worries.
I know what I wanted to say. I remember what you're talking about.
Shoot.
So it's impossible to predict. I mean, there are
That's
some.
Right. Thank you. Okay, amen.
All right. There's 46 parallels that it is pulled from Beckett's Topps Chrome checklist. And I'm sure it's missing some retail parallels or the geometrics. I don't know if they're on here. They are. So about 46 to 50 parallels. But at the same time, they're doing a good job with, okay. Forgive me. So where I was going with that was look back at Metal Universe. Okay. I remember Metal Universe. Nobody took it serious. The PMGs, they thought it was a kid's product. They thought it was dumb. But all of a sudden, PMGs now are very sought after. And so this is where it gets hard to predict. And so there's a chance, like there's a diamond in the rough that we're just missing that you and I think is just idiotic. I hated the frozen fractors when they first were announced. I hated the concept. Very gimmicky. At the end of the day, it's all gimmicks, really. But those go for more than some of the reds because they're really good looking and they're unique. So we'll have to see how it plays out, but it's nearly impossible to guess. So if you like what you like and you feel strongly, go for it. I mean,
I really liked your example because that's the exact example in my head is that card, except from the 90s. And they're a ridiculous amount at the moment. They're worth a lot of money.
Yeah.
You also mentioned in a video, you had a video about how you found some of the patch stuff to be too confusing, which I think is pretty true. But I don't know. Can you expand just for these my viewers? I guess what is your problem, or what do you find confusing about these patch cards?
So like how Topps is producing RPAs and stuff for baseball.
Yeah.
That's one thing I again, for the consumer, they're doing a good job. They're doing a great job for the consumer. The Transcendent set this year was very well done. In the past, Transcendent was a gigantic $30,000 box, and you got the entire autograph checklist, you got the entire base set checklist, and then you got some other stuff in there that's like ultra high end. But they changed Transcendent, and now it's more of like a, I don't know the basketball equivalent, maybe like a flawless, how you have some covered cards and then you have a pack. That's it. And those RPAs look awesome. They look really, really good. And then you have RPAs in definitive now, and those are more of the NT style look, and they look really good, at least to basketball collectors. But then you have Topps Dynasty, which is like their legacy RPA. That's game worn, high end. It's a really great card, and it does feel like they're kind of making it worse. The patches have been downgraded a little bit. The photos are all just mug shots of players versus action shots. So they're kind of making that product worse, making everything better to make everything sell, because they're going to sell Dynasty regardless. So my beef there is they should keep the Dynasty quality the same. It's fine if you introduce other RPAs and stuff, but that could cannibalize, which is a challenge. But I still think it's pretty cut and dry that Dynasty is the best one. But again, it's hard to say that's going to be that way forever. So if you're a big high-end Dynasty investor, it's a little nerve-wracking for rookies.
This might be a dud question, but let's ask. I think you did a survey with 1,000 collectors. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yep.
How long? When was that?
That was at longest ago, about 2 months ago, maybe 3.
So very recent.
Yeah.
What? Okay. What from that survey stood out to you? What was something that really, I don't know, what was there a question like what's the biggest threat or problem to the hobby, or what type of stuff was in this survey?
People did not. So the hard part is there could be bias in my surveys. And so I'm surveying my audience who has chosen to follow my content. So there is a challenge there because it doesn't really, we talked about me staying in my own lane. I could get a lot more money and a lot more subscribers if I did breaking. And I made the conscious decision that I don't believe in it because it feels more so like gambling. I don't want to support that. You know what I mean? And plus, I feel like there's a lot in that space. It just didn't make sense for what I was trying to do. But my audience does not open product at all. They are just out of touch with product. Product's too expensive. I asked them, I can pull up the exact numbers if that would be helpful. But I asked, like, how often do you open product? And like 80 to 90% said every 6 months. Like just crazy. Like
I would be right there. That's right. Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
So that's a big issue. But at the same time, it makes me wonder, like, who is buying it? And that's when you realize the hobby's a lot bigger than you think it is. So,
but also, like, it's so expensive that also takes out a lot of the, I guess they could buy into breaks, but
yes.
What was there some positives on the, oh, go ahead. What were you going to?
No, I was just agreeing with you. And I actually asked about breakers too. I'll pull those up while you're talking though.
I wanted so you've been approached or maybe asked to break or just you thought about it in your head, but you made a decision not to. First, I've heard that. Good for you.
I did one break event ever, and it was with Whatnot. And they were great to work with. They were very kind. The people I worked with were great. So I don't want this opinion. I don't know if I even signed a contract saying I wouldn't say anything negative. I don't know. So maybe I'll get sued. It's one of those things where I don't agree.
Oh, they have people sign stuff like that. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I mean, I did an initiative with them. And the way I did it is I wanted them to pay for a bunch of really cool old boxes. And they did. They were really great and open to my ideas. And they wanted to do more, but I got so much pushback just because of the brand that I underestimated how much people did not like them. And so even though I was doing the right, like, I feel like I was doing the right thing because I said, I'm going to get every single box in this break. I'm giving every pack away for free. I am not selling any of this. And on top of that, every referral that signs up, I'm donating that money to kids who can't afford cards at Christmas. So the whole thing was like literally to give back. That was my goal. And then I got paid a flat rate. I don't want it to make it sound like I was a perfect saint, right? It is time consuming. So they wanted to compensate a little bit for that. And it wasn't crazy, but it took a ton of time, and I had a lot of people who were like, "Oh no, Scottie gave in to whatnot," and I didn't want that to be like a selling out moment. But
What year would have that been? When was this?
when was that? 2020. It was at least 2 or 3 years ago, and it was great. We pulled some really cool cards. Like out of a update, we pulled an Otani rainbow foil rookie debut, which is worth in a PSA 10 like thousands. We pulled really great cards out of there, and I gave everything away: Scherzer, Clear, Kershaw rookies, Mookie rookies. But that was a couple years back. And so ever since then, I haven't done it again. I recently did a partnership with eBay where I created an ad for them. That was the first thing in like 5 years I've done. But I use eBay. So like, if anybody's upset about that one, I'm sorry. Like, I believe in eBay. Same with ComC. Like I would work with ComC. So I'm trying to make sure I'm careful with that aspect.
And just to bounce back off what you just said, I reached out to one company I use quite often and we're in conversation. But if you take a sponsor that you use on a regular, you put them in videos and things like this, I don't think that's a problem. But I have a little problem with some of the other sponsorships. So that's a good segue to the next topic. Is I don't find your content's just not sensationalized at all. But we're both on YouTube. We both make content. There's a lot of sensationalized card content, and it gets under my skin. And I'm just curious. I don't know. Where do you stand with some of the stuff that makes cards look like, I put it as a Bugatti? They make it look, really something I don't feel like cards is. And it gets under my skin. It bothers me.
We're both on YouTube. So it's a balancing game of clickbait, right? And so if you want to go way that extreme and actually do that type of stuff, you have to deliver on the clickbait or else you won't get subscribers and viewers. You can do really clickbaity stuff. Like sometimes I will. I'm sure you do too.
Yeah. Especially with the thumbnail. You got to get people to click.
Thumbnails and titles. You want them to watch the video. And so you have to balance that. I've had only a few videos people are like, hey, this is too much. It's like, yeah, maybe it was. But it's all just like that balancing game. The content, it can be the best content in the world, but if nobody watches it because they won't click on it, then it's unfortunate. Like there's a lot of really great creators out there who the hardest part for them is trying to sell someone with that quick second reaction time of should I watch this? That's the hardest part for them. And they have a lot of great opinions. Like the one baseball card collector, investor, dealer, he's the one guy who can just post a photo of himself blinking with like a screenshot of something that's not great, but he's so genuine and people trust him so much. He can outperform that, which is great. But the reason I'm talking around this is people sensationalize stuff because it gets them views and makes them money. That's all it is. So it's a balancing act of how you want to go about it. I don't love it either. And
okay, because it's just not great for cards. For me, it's not great for what I love. Maybe some could argue, some will argue the other side, but for me, it just it hurts something I love. And maybe again, people are, it's going to take cards to the moon. Cards are going to go up. Everyone's getting in cards. So, there's the other side. But
can you give me an example? You don't have to say the name, but like even the content. You don't have to say.
Oh, I can. I mean, I say names all the time. I don't know if you want me to go with name. I'll name a few. Roth cards, Jeff Wilson, Ryan Card Collector 2. So it just, whenever you're using a kid in a video, I've heard pushback. I've heard people on my side. I don't like using kids in the video. It's an emotional pull.
I mean, I agree. I don't want to say the individual because it's just, there's certain people who will do things for kids solely for the purpose of creating content. It's like celebrities who won't go give to charity unless there's someone to see it. And so I'm not saying like Jeff Wilson. I genuinely believe I work with Ty and I love Ty. And so I talk to Ty about certain things that are different than probably what the public perception is. But like I genuinely believe Jeff is trying to do the right thing most of the time and trying to be a really good guy. Sometimes it just doesn't come off the right way. I don't know if he's slightly out of touch or what it is. But
I think you nailed it. That's it. Yeah.
I think Jeff's a genuine dude. He has stuff in the past, but he was first in the space talking about investment stuff. And we all backed away from like card picks, unless like you really want to have your own private thing, like a gambling, you're paying someone for picks and gambling type of a thing. But there's some that I don't think are genuine. And I'm not going to say who, and it's unfortunate, but at the same time, like what's the harm? At least they're giving cards to kids. So like, that's the worst case, but I don't know. It depends on the creator.
I hear, you mentioned Teapot or Ty, right? That's Teapot.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Or Raptor. My viewer, I hear too, there's one thing. The guy's genuine, he's smart, he loves cards. He comes off like I can read he can't hide his emotion. I see him on a video where he's uncomfortable, it just shows in his face. So I do believe that, but he also gets such a bad the other side because he's tied with that, sports card investor. I'm sure it helps too, but it's just they're so opposite. One is so to me a little sensationalized, the other, his personality is so not that.
Yes, it's thought out. Well, I guess that's smart on Jeff's part. He's surrounding himself with people that he has weaknesses with. And Ty
All right.
is someone who I genuinely love Ty. And I understand like he is a part of market movers. And I think since we started spitballing, I think he's been able to express himself more and people have heard some of his takes. Ty also has very bold takes at times that I don't always agree with. We go head to head and clash sometimes. But no, for Ty, I mean, it's his day job too. So it's one of those things where you got to work with your boss at the end of the day because he was hired to build market movers. And he's done a good job. But for him, like he has to be respectful. But I'm sure there's things Ty would love to say that he doesn't. So
one of the sponsors I don't like, I'm not a fan of the arena clubs or courtyards of the world. It's not transparent. It does build into an addiction type of thing or a gambling type of way. And if that company, or sports card investor Jeff, he takes that sponsorship. Where do you stand with mystery packs or something like Arena Club?
I don't like them at all. I have no. It's so hard. It's so hard because I'll play devil's advocate and say the positives of them first. You have a better ROI on a product with upside versus opening up a box of a hanger box from, Myers, wherever you're getting your hanger box from. Realistically, the upside is higher, but it just feels scummy. And I don't know why it does, but it just feels like it's feeding into addiction more than anything else. I like the ones that are transparent, that say exactly what the odds are of getting your money back, that are very clear about stuff, and they show every card. That's great. But for every one of those, there's 50 that aren't good. So not a huge fan. I've been approached by them as partners. I won't, not Arena Club in particular. Maybe they have, I don't know, but I would never do it, if that makes sense, because I don't think it supports the right aspect. Realistically, the reason why prices are so expensive is because if we're leaning into breakers, I can be critical of breakers. The reason why product's so expensive is because breakers just buy it at whatever price. Of
course, because they can sell it.
They'll just mark it 10%, whatever they pay, and they know someone will pay for it. And so that's a challenge. But no, for me, buybacks, repacks, I am not a fan.
And I want to say my piece here is you mentioned buyback. So some, Arena Club or Quarry, you could buy back right away. And that's just, you can't do that when you open a box pack. I guess you could do that at the card shop and you get a bunch of stuff. To me, it just feeds into the addiction. Even if you hit something, sometimes they're going to sell it back just to try to hit bigger or rip more or chase what they lost. So that buyback thing's dangerous. Hey, I could rip something, I could sell it. Let's keep playing. And it's dangerous.
Yeah. I mean, so maybe I'm a hypocrite, but like I've sold to repackers. So like, am I the problem? You don't want to just sell to, you know what I mean? It's hard when people are offering better prices for your cards, but you're feeding the issue that you don't like. But the selling back aspect, yes, I think in a vacuum, it can be really good and really bad. Some people just have extra income and that's how they enjoy spending their money. And that's fine. They'd be doing it sports betting. Like if that's what they want to do. But I think there's a lot more individuals that it puts in a tough financial situation than those that have the money to spend. That's the hard part.
A lot of us make an argument. Some of it's not sustainable because the more that comes out, the more watered down maybe, or a lot of people, you buy into something, you lose a few times and you stop, or you play for a couple months when you get in, you realize that's not the best way and you stop. So do you find sustainability, one, in breaking and two, in mystery packs?
It's all dependent on how well you marketing. I remember when Michael Rubin said he wanted to 10x the hobby, everybody kind of like laughed at him, but he's actually done a pretty good job of Xing. I don't know exactly what number, but the hobby's way bigger. There's more participants in the hobby.
There's definitely more big money in the hobby since I really believe that.
But it's one of those things where it's all sustainable if they can continue to bring in new people. At the moment that the interest just slows down, like if this is a bubble and this is just like the cool new thing, then that's the point. It'll be bad. But I think it's totally sustainable, assuming they can continue to bring in individuals.
Including
So,
mystery packs.
I do.
Yeah, as long as
but
new
again,
people are coming in.
the cost of wax is so out of reach that sometimes you're better off buying a $500 mystery pack with a 50% chance to double your money or 50% chance of halving your money. I know those numbers don't quite make sense because you make way more upside. So let's say having 30% more of your money and then halving your money. But it's one of those things where that's a way better trade-off than buying a hobby box at Topps Chrome. Like way better trade-off in regards to value. So for some people, that's better for them. But you end up getting cards you don't care about. But you could say the same argument for opening a box of Topps Chrome. So
I would say I want to run this out. I want to take it further. If they continue to need more people, what's happening is everyone's opening a card shop. Now, these Arena Club and Courtyard, they're direct competition to Breakers. So everything is competition. Every local card shop that pops up in a vicinity, is competition of each other. Eventually, someone made the point. Eventually everyone's a seller and you have no buyers. But it just feels like it's getting awfully competitive.
It is getting competitive, and that's probably a good thing for us. Maybe it's a time it starts to tip a little bit to the point where it comes back to the consumer. But no, you're absolutely right in regards to everybody is paying 85 to 90% comps. It's like, bro, I don't want to give you this. You know what I mean? Like, I'll just sell it myself for 100% comps on eBay. Like, stop. Like, everybody wants, even though it logically doesn't make sense. So everybody is flipping. Everybody's making it a hustle. And that's the money that we need to be concerned about. If things get harder, those people will leave. There goes the liquidity. If the liquidity goes, there goes, people buying all this other stuff. It's kind of just like, I know slippery slope can be a logical fallacy, but essentially a slippery slope if the liquidity dries out. So
I enjoyed this conversation. I hope we could do more of this because you take this very logically. I mean, I'm a little leaning my way because that's how I feel, but have a lot of the same thoughts I do, but just a lot more logical about it, I think, or a lot more in the middle about it.
Hey, well, thank you. I can be emotional. Don't get me wrong. Like, we all make emotionally charged decisions, but on some of these hard topics, I've gone the other way in my channel, and then you just have to think about the opposite viewpoints. Like, yes, a good example of this, and I don't mean to drag this on. I know you were mentioning.
No, I'd love it. Let's hear it.
I don't want to ruin the conversation by going too long, but the black parallel in Topps update and Topps flagship. So in Series 1, Topps did not release the black parallel. It's the first time since 2003 that the black parallel wasn't in there. And I made a video saying how that's not great. That's bad. People are going to be pissed. Nobody cared. Besides one person in the hobby that even knows what the black parallel is or has pulled a black parallel or collects them. And so it's just sometimes, even though I'm making these frozen fractors, I hated the taco fractors. I just have to kind of realize, you know what, the hobby's a lot bigger than my lane. So I try to stick in my lane, but also try to be open-minded. So
I enjoyed it a bunch, Scott.
Yeah, and thank you. I've never asked you this. What do you collect? What's your thing that you really like?
So I got rid of a lot of my vintage basketball. Really tried some credit card debt I had to pay. Didn't make sense sitting. So I got rid of my Magic Bird rookies, my Kareem rookie. I have the way I do it so I can stay in and have fun. I have every basically basketball player, NBA player ever to play their rookie card.
Cool.
And so now I'm working on Hall of Fame auto rookie cards. So, Robert Parrish, George Gervin, Jason Kidd, because you get them at $80, $120, this Hall of Fame auto on card rookie. It's fun. So that's the majority. I played a little bit of Magic the Gathering when I was younger, and some of that early stuff is way undervalued. So I'm enjoying picking up some of that. Just all sorts, and then random stuff. A Dana White autograph rookie. I'm staring at a Mickey Mouse from 1949. But yeah, the NBA is more. I had a ton of baseball, and at one point I just had to make a decision. I can only have so much, Dude, so at one point I got rid of all the chipper and all the stuff. Yeah.
So you showed your Mickey Mouse card. Is that his rookie? Is there I know it's.
Oh, that I don't think it's his rookie. I don't. So, if he had one, I don't think it is.
I had this bad habit of, golf rookie cards. I was going back and buying the Harry Vardens from 1901 or 1900, whenever it was. And all those
man.
guys, even what's his name? Bobby Jones. Completely forgot Bobby Jones's name from like 1926, or Walter Hagen's. I thought that was so cool. But you can so quickly just spend all the money in a new space before
That's
you know
right.
what you're doing. But
That's
the reason
right.
I say that, I love the Mickey Mouse card. I love non-sports and old, like really old random vintage sports. But this is my only one I have left. So I kept this one. I don't know if you're familiar with the set, but this is a 1888 Edgar Allan Poe from
Wow. Awesome.
tobacco pack. This is one of my few non-baseball cards I have left. So it's pretty cool. There's only like 20 of them, 30 of them ever authenticated. So,
And that's the beginning of cards almost.
oh yeah. Yeah. So it's the Great American set. So they have like George Washington and Thomas Edison. Some of those guys go for stupid money, but
So currently I'm working on the 1966 Batman set, which is the rookie year of Batman. Yeah, it's fun. And it's not so much stuff is just too pricey. So much stuff is too, so I try to stay somewhere where I don't have to spend tons of money and still have fun.
it's becoming harder and harder in the hobby. But if you look, there's places.
That's right.
I mean, I'm collecting Billy Butler. And so that's the thing. People will say I'm not a collector because I sell my cards. And like, I have spent thousands on Billy Butler, who I've lost money on every transaction.
I'm guessing you have the best Billy Butler collection there is then. I can't imagine there's tons of people looking for him.
Oh, dude, whoever has, I'm sure there's some guy out there who has a Superfractor, Bowman Chromato, and like 3 of the reds. So I can't claim the best. I probably have the biggest. But I have a lot of the supers. He has like 15 total Superfractors ever made. That's the era issue, right? There's probably 15 Superfractors released of Mike Trout in the last 10 days.
Yeah.
So that's the fun part. So it makes it exciting when one does pop up. So one day I'll hope to have the best, but it's hard to say without the super. So
I don't want to put you on the spot. Are you willing to, I hope we could do this again, maybe at the end of the month or November.
Sure.
Would you be willing to come back? Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, of course.
Awesome.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I can learn a lot more. Also, I get some insight from you and the viewers, everybody. You're very knowledgeable on the baseball side and all the most of the product, even though you don't buy it.
Yeah, I try to. Obviously, we also have a second channel, Spitball and Cards, and that's Ty, Phil. Phil.
Yeah.
And then Chris and Jeff. I don't know if you know Blab about Slavin, but they're also on there. Really great guys, and everybody has their own unique perspectives. But if you ever want to see some more hot takes, I probably went a little bit too heavy on why I think Aaron Judge deserves the MVP over Cal Raleigh. I'm sure that'll ruffle some feathers. So a little bit less mellow answers. So
are you because you said you like Aaron Judge? So do you have Aaron Judge? Are you buying Aaron Judge?
So this is a tough one. I bought last year before the World Series, like right after the ALCS and the World Series, I purchased an Aaron Judge definitive Logo Man rookie autograph. And so this is before Logo Man went crazy, and I paid like $20,000 for it. And so I learned to like Aaron Judge. But the week after he like dropped the ball in the World Series, that was brutal. And I've always liked Aaron Judge. That's my dad's favorite player too. He's a pseudo Yankees fan. He just likes Judge. And so I was able to flip that card later because they blew up, and I was able to get a good return on it, even though I loved the card. It was a really hard choice. Probably should have held it. It would have been probably worth double what I sold it for. But I bought back a gold Bowman chromatograph of Judge. So I have a gold Bowman chromatograph. I use the rest of the funds to buy a Dynasty Ohtani rookie auto. So I like Judge because he's helped me like build my collection out. Plus I have one of his cards still. So
one. How many cards do you have? A lot? I have a lot of just stuff. I mean, have you narrowed down your collection at this point?
More so than I thought I would. Yes, I'm like cards. I have a lot of Larry Walker. I have a lot of Billy Butler, right? Like I have all of that, and I have way more than I ever thought I would there. But from like an investment perspective, I do have less than I anticipated, especially heading into this year. I've really consolidated. I mean, I bought 4 Ohtanis this year, and that alone is going to take up a lot of your collection. So if you're trying to like not get divorced by spending your savings. So it's smaller now than I ever thought it would. I really got into the consolidation.
Thank you for coming on, Scott. It was great meeting you as well.
Yeah, thank you for having me on. It was great chatting. If you ever want me on again, just let me know, and let me know on Instagram, and we can always hop on whenever.
Oh, definitely. I'll definitely be reaching out.
Sounds good.
The NWO is on a roll, brah.
What up, everybody? This is Robert Ory, a.k.a. Big Shot Bob, and you're watching Professional Sports Cards. Hey, by the way, go buy my rookie card.